I almost never go into a video with literally nothing scripted for it, but this is one of those videos because the concept is so simple. I saw a home tour on YouTube and I want to share it with you. That's it. If you're new here, my name is Medora. I use they, them pronouns, and I make videos about home design for girls, gays, and theys. So let's go watch this home tour, and as we go along, I'll tell you everything that I love about it and everything that I don't love, which, spoiler alert, is not much. Okay, just to start off, I love this shot of the living room so much. It feels so earthy and cozy, and ultimately, it just feels like the kind of space I want to curl up in. I love that the couch is so unique, but it also doesn't feel precious. I love the giant piece of artwork. I love the style that the artwork is in. I love the juxtaposition of the giant art next to the tiny little piece of art. The only two things I'm seeing right off the bat that I don't love are this little black sconce over here. And then I do wish the corner on the right-hand side felt a little bit more intentional and styled, because right now it's just like the Monstera is taking over everything. And then there's this like cute little reading lamp. So I think I wish that there was either a floor lamp or a wall sconce that took up a lot more visual real estate, and probably something that came up a little bit higher. Because yeah, this one corner just does not feel super intentional to me, but it does feel genuinely lived in, which I definitely prefer to these like perfectly styled Architectural Digest shoots. So I'll take it. Okay, next shot. I'm in love with this kitchen. I love this kitchen so much. Maybe it's just because I've been really into stainless steel recently, especially as a benchtop, but like that mixed with the wood, and I'm pretty sure they say in here, I don't remember what it's called, but they did some sort of specific like brushed technique on the stainless steel, which makes it like a little bit more of a matte finish, and it makes it a little bit like softer and more velvety to the touch. The classic hay pendant, and then those weird little creepy doll things that are just sitting up on the counter there. I love it. I hope we get a better shot of this chair because I really love this little accent chair in the living room. That is fantastic because I feel like the rest of the room, it reads a little too like green and brown, and like everything is a little bit muddy, but with the addition of this black accent chair that you're probably not really supposed to sit in, it helps add some visual contrast, it adds some texture and some character, and I love that they added that. Ooh, we get a floor plan. Okay, so here's the main door. We enter in here. This is their like little built-in thing. This is the living room, dining room, patio. I'm obsessed with this patio. We'll see it later. Kitchen over here, pantry and fridge, bedroom. Oh, that must be another bedroom. Oh, I think is it an office? I don't remember. And then bathroom. Okay. Okay, going back to the bathroom real quick. Hopefully they'll show more shots of this, but I think this specific shower curtain is, oh, I should know the name of this brand. What is it? Color block clear shower curtain. Quiet Down. I think that's it. Yeah, they've got all sorts of fun shower curtains in these like color blocks that are transparent, and they do also have canvas ones that are not transparent. They've got, this is not sponsored or anything. I've been obsessed with these shower curtains for at least a couple years now. Yeah, you've got some fun color blocks, stripes, patchwork. These are probably the most unique shower curtains I've found that aren't pages. Okay, anyways. Oh, the office. This office just screams creativity. And again, I really love how they've carried this theme of a lot of wood and like earthy natural colors mixed with the stainless steel. It really ties it back into the kitchen, but like in a way that feels natural and realistic and very functional. I probably won't be able to put the audio in here for like copyright reasons or whatever. But she just said that she shares her office, or her art room as she calls it, with her sister who lives across the hall. And that's one of the other things I very much love about this home tour, is because there are people who are trying to figure out how to do housing in a more communal way and how to create spaces that people like actually want to not just live in, but like live in community in. So I'll try to remember to link this project below. I think there's some links in here. Sky House with Breathe Architecture. Yeah, I'll link this down below in case you want to go check it out. Ooh, and they're B Corp certified. Nice. Okay, let's get back to it. I really love how they've used all of these tiny little wall spaces to put art and sconces and photographs from trips and little sculptures. Those type of things just make a home feel so like cozy and lived in. And obviously you want to like curate it. You want to show a little restraint if you're prone to just slapping a ton of stuff on the walls. But I feel like everyone has a different ideal threshold for the amount of art and knickknacks and stuff happening. Because some people, like my roommates, love a ton of stuff everywhere, and that feels very cozy to them, and that's great for them. But it feels very cluttered to me. Honestly, you know what? This is a great first date question. How much clutter can you handle? Like, how much stuff do you like on your walls? Because if you like your walls pretty bare and the person you're seeing is like, no, I need to have stuff covering these walls. If you're trying to live together, that's not going to work. Especially if for the person who does not like having things on your walls, it's very anxiety provoking to have a lot of things on your walls. Anyways, that was a whole tangent. Okay, we saw it a little bit in that last clip too, and then a little bit here. I love this blue that they've chosen. I feel like we're collectively starting to come around to the color of blue. It feels very fresh. It feels very like hopeful and optimistic. Obviously, it depends on what kind of blue you choose, because if you choose a darker grayer blue, that's gonna feel a lot more depressing, possibly, depending on the context that it goes in. But this particular blue feels so fresh and so cheerful without it really feeling like a bright color. It really just feels like the color of the sky. And then pairing that right next to the wood built-ins is just such a beautiful contrast. And also, in general, floor-to-ceiling built-ins, big yes in my book. It took me a while to figure out what was happening here and where it was in the apartment. This is your view from the front door. Like when you walk into the front door, this is what you see. This is the built-in thingy that the couch is on the other side of it. We've got this beautiful quilt as a wall hanging, which I love any sort of art that's like textiles. So like a quilt or a giant, I'm not going to say macrame. I'm sure there could be a context in which macrame could be good, but I think the like 2010s boho trend kind of put me off of it. But any sort of, yeah, quilts in particular, but even something that's like knitted or crocheted, or what other textile arts are there? Completely blanking. But then in this built-in is a piano, which is just such a smart use of space, because if you need a room divider to separate the entryway from the living room, but you also kind of need space for a piano, and then you also need storage on top, just build all of that into one cohesive unit. I love it. Okay, so here's the other side of that custom built-in thing. I am a little confused because it looks like there's kind of doors in there, and so I'm not sure if those open for like some secret storage. Yeah, really my only complaint so far is this sconce over by the couch. I do also think, not to be a broken record, but I think that a pop of red would look really good in here. Maybe somewhere on these shelves or as like a framed piece of art or something, because I feel like a bright red next to like this specific color of blue, those would contrast very nicely. She just said her niece takes piano lessons over here, which again is just like bringing up this sense of communal living that I am so here for. I love the curtains. I think I just wish that there were like twice as many curtains, because I wish the curtains went all the way over to the wall to cover up. It looks like there's something on that wall. I can't tell if it's a piece of art or if it's like something that's built into the space. I don't know. But yeah, the curtains look a little sparse to me, and I wish that there were just like twice as many curtains stuffed into the same amount of space. And yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I would do with that corner. Like, it feels like the person who's living here is using the corner in a way that makes sense for them because they've got all these plants hanging up. It just feels kind of sparse and unintentional and just kind of like, well, the plants need light, so we'll put them by the light, which serves a function, but I don't necessarily know that it serves all possible functions, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think I just want like a really big chunky floor lamp behind the Monstera instead of having those extra plants hanging up there. I think that's all I would do. Okay, if I'm going to be really nitpicky, I think there's too much stuff on the coffee table. Now, it does look like there's enough space around the perimeter of the coffee table so that you could like set a drink or set a book or set your phone or something, but I don't love an overly styled coffee table. I love this view. This is the view when you turn around the corner of that built-in that separates the entryway and the living room, and that view is just perfect. Those giant windows really let in so much light, and I love that it like really draws you into the house. And honestly, it kind of acts as a giant piece of artwork because it's kind of framed out between the curtains and the lamp that's hanging in the foreground. And to me, everything else kind of just fades into the background, and I just want to go outside, which honestly I feel like is the mark of fantastic home design, when the interior is beautiful and you still want to go outside. I love that they've built in a bookshelf into this step that goes up to the outside patio. I think that's a really fantastic use of space, especially in such a small space. Okay, she just said that she chose not to have a TV so that you don't have any furniture like facing walls and so that all of the furniture can face each other. And I am personally a very big fan of that. I do not like a TV. If you decide you really want to have one, then like work it into your space, obviously. But yeah, I've never owned a TV in my entire adult life. and I have no desire to. Actually, that's a lie. I think I do have a cute vintage like little 70s like fake wood TV that I got off of Craigslist for like $25. But I don't have the right cord to like hook it up to a VCR because what I really want is to just like have a whole VCR collection and be able to like play movies on there. So nostalgic. I definitely wasn't that kid who would rewatch The Lion King like 2, 3, 4 times a day on VCR and have to like rewind it between each time. I didn't have that movie fully memorized. I don't know what you're talking about. Is that just an autistic thing? I don't know. I feel like that's kind of been my entire adult life is just relating to someone else's experience and then finding out it's just an autistic thing and being like, wait, I thought that was the core part of my personality. So, okay, I just want to stop on this frame real quick because I love the way that they've taped this tiny little photograph with brown tape right above the light switch just to like make it a moment. It's one of those details that is so small, but it's just like, mm, so good. And it makes it a moment and it's so intentional, yet it's so cheap yet effective. And yeah, those are the tiny little details that I swoon over. Again, going back to the idea of living in community, she was talking about how they took out like second bathrooms and laundry rooms and made those communal features instead of individual apartment features. And obviously, I think there needs to be some discussion around accessibility because like sometimes you really do need things to be in your own space, especially if you have like mobility access issues or if you have a giant family and you need to like do laundry 3 times a day, you know? So I think as we collectively start to like develop more ideas for communal living, we need to take into consideration things like that. Communal resources are great, and there needs to be some sort of flexibility because everyone has different needs, and we need to be able to figure out how to meet those needs. She just said that sometimes they'll have like 30 or 40 people over, and that feels like a lot for this space, but also this space feels so well thought out that it makes sense. It doesn't like immediately strike me as like a large party hosting type of space. But yeah, with this kitchen that's very linear, that kind of like guides people from the front door through the kitchen and out onto the patio. I can see how this would be a fantastic entertaining space. And then you still have the living room as kind of like a quieter nook for people who don't want to be like in the middle of all the noise. This feels like one of those homes that is just so well thought out that you wouldn't change anything about it. Oh, that's okay. That's such a good detail. She was just saying how this step that goes up onto the balcony, which is also the bookshelf, is the perfect height for a bench seat, which I imagine would be somewhere between 16 and 18 inches tall, which, to be fair, is very tall for a step. So I wonder if there's like an extra step in the one part where you walk out. I don't know. But yeah, let's keep going. I love this balcony so much. And I think the main reason I love it is because of all of the brickwork that surrounds the balcony. It's apparently a planter that has irrigation in it, which is definitely one of those things like work smarter, not harder, right? This feels like a fantastic use of technology because irrigation technology is fairly simple and fairly cheap. I'm definitely a little skeptical of where technology is going in regards to the future and AI, but a simple technology like this that is designed specifically to make your life significantly easier without really taking away much, if anything, that is a fantastic use of technology. My memory card was full, and so I had to go delete some things, and so I forget exactly what I was trying to say next, but incorporating landscaping and architecture and like merging the two and yay, good. Okay, so she's talking a lot about how there's a lot of recycled stuff in these buildings. A lot of the concrete is recycled, and specifically the floorboards, at least in her apartment. I don't know if throughout the rest of the apartments, at least in her apartment, they're recycled, which I just find so amusing because I feel like there's this running gag that in every single AD home tour, they talk about where they got some random piece of wood and what the story behind that piece of wood is and why it was like connected to some historical figure or whatever. I feel like it's funny and harmless to make fun of rich people who can afford to like spend probably 20, 50, $100,000 on some fancy ass piece of wood that it doesn't actually need to be that much money. And also, I feel like wood connects us all as humans because it's something that is so universal to the human experience. Like there is wood and trees in most places in the world, and it's relatively intuitive to work with and also pretty easily accessible. So as funny as that joke is, I'm also like, well, yeah, wood is so important to like the evolution of us as humans. So of course we want wood in our homes, especially wood that has a fun story behind it. I don't know. Okay, going back, I I do love this little vignette. It's very weird and it almost feels cluttered, but not to the point where it feels unintentional. She clearly has like a weird, funky, unique ceramics collection going on, and I think it's really smart to keep that styling moment at the end of the counter where it's not going to come into contact with food. And the same with those creepy cloth dolls. Like, those should not be right over the stove, so it's good they're on the very end. My only question here is I'm curious why the cabinets and the benchtop don't go all the way to the wall. There's like an empty little space, maybe like a foot and a half wide in between the end of the counter and the cabinets and the wall. And I feel like it wouldn't have been too hard to just like extend that all the way. And so I'm wondering if there's like something specific, like a little step ladder that they have to store back there, or I don't know. Let's keep going. Ooh, okay, I did not know that. Apparently stainless steel is 100% recyclable at the end of its life. Also, it just lasts forever. Now, granted, it probably takes a lot of energy to recycle it, but with how long it lasts, yeah, I'm definitely getting more and more into stainless steel as I get older. Ooh, okay, so good piece of information here. She said that the finish on this stainless steel is called an orbital finish, which means that it's buffed from different directions. It's apparently a much more like soft velvety texture, and it's not anywhere near as industrial as other types of finishes for stainless steel. So if you're doing a renovation and you're into this, it's called an orbital finish. Now, granted, I don't know if that is a universal term within the stainless steel like manufacturing world, but at least for whatever company she worked with, that's what it's called. Okay, so she was talking about how the flooring is a very like old school way of laying the flooring, and so like it's much more traditional, but using that traditional way of laying flooring in a more modern space just helps the more modern space feel like a home rather than some like random new industrial build. So I think that's a really great example of taking things from history and bringing them into a more modern context in a way that like actually makes sense. She didn't go too in depth on this, but I love how she mentioned that the colors are very specific to her and her own, what she calls personal narrative, whatever that means to her. I love the idea of choosing colors intentionally based off of maybe like a spiritual meaning or a personal growth type of meaning, or really just anything that has like some extra layers of meaning behind it. Apparently those colors are actually from this quilt, which her mom made. So that's really cute and sweet. And yeah, I love bringing in intentional little details like that. So that was the entire apartment. Obviously, I loved it, but let me know down in the comments if you loved it. Is there anything you would change about the space? Is there anything that you would keep the same? Obviously, this is someone's real home, so be kind in the comments. I know this won't be everyone's personal style, but for me, this is the type of space that just feels like the perfect blend of cozy and functional and livable and human and like big enough without being like way too big, but also small enough without being way too small. It just feels like the perfect balance of everything in a home to me, and I'm glad that I got to share that with you. I'll keep this short, but just a little update. After this video is published, I'm switching my YouTube profile picture to this, so make sure to look out for that next weekend. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to tell the algorithm gods to show you more of my videos. If you want to support this channel, go to patreon.com/medorakia, and if you want to work with me one-on-one, go to medorakia.com. Bye!